Good morning. How's everybody doing today? Kind of spread out. Maybe if people want to move in a little bit so we can be a little closer. No? No, I know. We like to sit in the back and, keep an eye on it. Yep, thank you. Well, thanks for coming. My name is Quinton Zondervan. I'm the president of Green Cambridge and the executive director of the Climate Action Business Association. And we are the sponsors of this conference organized by Biodiversity for a Livable Climate. And very excited to be here and have you all join us today. So I grew up in the tropical jungle of South America. And I've always carried that verdant image with me, even here in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And while we're not going to turn Cambridge into a jungle anytime soon, we have a lot of opportunities to make it greener. And you're going to learn a lot more about that today from the amazing speakers that we have lined up for you today. So why is it important in relation to climate change that we talk about plants and trees? Well, so far our response to climate change has been mostly framed as mitigation, which is reducing our emissions, and that's very important to do, and adaptation, getting ready for the changes that we know are already happening. But what's been missing from our conversation is restoration. Restoring the natural environment to help us respond to climate change. It's like we've come across a patient who is bleeding and said, okay, let's stop the bleeding and put a bandage on it. And if that's all we did, then the patient would still die. We have to call 911, get them some proper medical care so they can recover from the injury. So with regards to climate change, who do we call? And that's nature. And we know that because this has happened many, many times before in the distant past. The Earth has been through many cycles of heating and cooling before. And today, of course, carbon dioxide gets a bad rep because it's heating up our atmosphere. But if we didn't have carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, it would be colder than this past February. So we have to use the tools that are there to help us recover from this situation. And there used to be a lot more carbon in the air, of course, millions of years ago, which was incorporated into the organisms that died, got buried, and became the fossil fuels that we now depend on to run our civilization. And of course, when our ancestors discovered those fuel sources, they didn't realize that exploiting them would change our climate. But now we know better, and we also know that nature is the only proven mechanism to harvest that carbon and put it back in the ground safely where it does no longer harms our climate. So obviously we have to stop putting more carbon in the air. That's obvious. We have to do all that, renewable energy and so on. Obviously we have to adapt to the changes that are already happening. And we also need to protect and restore the natural environment to pull the carbon out of the atmosphere and put it back in the ground. And we can lead the way right here in Cambridge. I know that seems paradoxical since we don't have a lot of opportunities here to grow lots of trees or grasslands or plants or anything like that. But what we do have is a lot of very smart people, and you will hear from some of them today. And you don't have to become experts, right? We don't have to be the doctors treating the patient. We just have to be advocates who are calling 911 and saying, we have to do something here for this patient. So you're going to learn a lot today, but we want you to stay in touch and continue this conversation because there's only so much that we can do in one day. So we've created a new hashtag on social media, which is CAMB for Cambridge, and then carbon. And we're going to use that to let you know about other events, meetups, and things that are happening so that you can continue the conversation and hopefully we can lead to more action. So enjoy the day. I'm going to introduce you briefly to my colleague Lucy, who's going to tell you a little bit more about the Climate Action Business Association and their mission and their role in all of this. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much, Quinton. First off, I want to say thank you all for coming. It's so great to see you guys here, people caring about climate change and what we can do to stop it. So my name is Lucy Alexander. I'm the policy coordinator for the Climate Action Business Association. And what we try and do is to organize local progressive business owners to become better advocates in the climate crisis. So that can mean a couple different things. That could be reducing the waste and energy use of our member businesses, and it also means organizing community events like today to bring the community of people who care about climate change together. And another thing that it means is helping our local businesses become better advocates on policy positions that we think are most important in mitigating climate change. Massachusetts has been a leader in progressive policies so far. We have ambitious greenhouse gas emission reduction targets. We rank first in the nation in terms of energy efficiency and fourth in terms of our solar industry. But climate change is an issue that's going to require all of us to take collective efforts together. It requires an all-of-the-above approach, and I'm very excited today to learn from you all about what that means to you. One thing that we can all do to help mitigate climate change is to put a price on the actual cause. That means pricing greenhouse gas emissions and pricing carbon in order to send a clear and strong market signal to what is actually causing climate change. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm very excited to meet with you, speak with you all today, and hear your ideas about what we all can be doing to mitigate climate change. So thank you.